Started whenever y'all get settled in. It's 12, I think, so.
I guess so.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for coming to this panel with increased search revenue while protecting your brand. So what we're talking about here is how merchants can allow their affiliates to advertise on their brand terms and actually make money from doing that. We know a lot of folks prohibit that. Can we get a show of hands? How many of you are merchants in the audience? How many of you let your affiliates advertise on your brands?
It's all right.
What do you do? Okay. How many of you don't let affiliates advertise on your brands? That's sort of the norm. Okay. And that's pretty typical, and it makes a lot of sense to do that. I'm just going to give you a few ideas and strategies on how you can actually twist that on its head and let your affiliates help you out with brand protection actually on search. So we have 3 speakers today. One's myself, Weiman. We had a speaker switch, so instead of Debbie McDonough, and Brendan. So, Donna, you're first.
All right. Hi, I'm Donna McCarthy. I am the Director of Performance Marketing at the JAR Group. We are a full-service marketing agency. Primarily, I work on affiliate accounts, so I manage affiliate accounts on behalf of merchants, such as yourself. So we act as the outsourced affiliate program manager. So what I'm going to do today is really just introduce search marketing and how it relates to affiliates, and talk a little bit about the different ways that you can introduce search marketing and work with affiliates as your partners. And then we'll turn it over to Lori, who will talk about some tools, and then Brendan, who is actually a search affiliate, and he'll give you some case studies of merchants that he's worked with, and how it's been a successful partnership in driving incremental revenue for them. Everybody hear me okay? Maybe if I like that, because I kind of talk a little loud, so I didn't want to blast you out. Yeah, so let's go with Alright, so we'll go to the very first slide, which is what is search affiliates? So search affiliates actually buy the keywords, but by our arbitrage methods that they use between the click cost and the CPAs, or the cost that they get for their commissions or the rev share, they actually take that money and invest it back into the search campaigns. So sometimes your commissions might be a little bit higher. They might ask for a little bit of increased commission, only because they need that to really get the search campaign going. So, again, by show of hands, we could actually see that there were some that were not using search and some that were, very few that were. And a lot of times, whether or not you let your affiliates actually do search is actually based on, your view of affiliate search affiliates. So, some people say they're cannibals and they're leeches, and they're just taking incremental revenue that's already there. Some think they're valuable strategic partners. So, we're going to find you can be valuable strategic partners. But a lot of how you should determine if you want to use your search affiliates is really looking at your competitive landscape, looking at your organic rankings, looking at your brand volume, looking at what your competitors are doing, and also look at your competitors' affiliates and what they're doing. Because there could be a lot of opportunity there that you're not capitalized on and others are. So what we're going to show you is by you actually partnering with some search affiliates, you can actually take more of that landscape back or more of that market share back from your competitors. And again, there's a couple of different things if you're deciding that you want to move and partner with your search affiliates. So it's not just a matter of, yes, I'm going to let them do it, but there's a couple of areas that you need to define what your policy is actually going to be. So, how are you going to let them use your display URL or not use your display URL? What is the copy restrictions? Is there certain pieces of copy that they can use, words they can use, words they can't use, words that are trademarked? Looking at the landing pages, what landing pages are you going to have specific landing page they're going to use, or they're going to use your landing pages? Sometimes we see policies where they say, well, you can't use the primary search engines, but we'll let you use the secondary search engines because we're not taking advantage of this. Also looking at some of the social media sites. So there's a lot to decide for when you want to move into that space and make those decisions. And then also how you're going to enforce the process. So one of the big pieces when you allow your search affiliates in is how are you going to police it, how are you going to watch it, how are you going to monitor it, how are you going to make sure that everybody's playing within the rules that you've established, and what's your policy going to be for those who are not playing the rules. That also should be defined up front before you start entering your search campaigns. So what's your sweet spot? This is not a one strategy fits all. This is really looking at your own individual merchants, your own individual companies, and deciding what's the best policy what's the best way that you're going to set up search. So the very first one is completely open search policy. So your affiliates basically are acting as your search team. They're doing all of your search for you. Open bidding policy, higher affiliate search revenue. So your search affiliates could be driving tons of revenue for you. So they might be out bringing more revenue, I guess I could say, than some of your other affiliates. Your ROI, looking at your ROI, it's going to be very low because compared to you doing search versus them doing search, you're only paying once you get the sale, so it's going to bring your ROI down for that. And discourage, almost I'm not sure what that is. So we went to that one. Then we move on to the restricted search policy. This is not allowing any search affiliates. So no search affiliates, nobody can do any search, no trademarks. Very low risk of search cannibalization because you're not letting them do it, so they're not going to be cannibalizing on your own search campaign. Well, of course, it's going to reduce your affiliate search revenue because there's going to be none because it's a closed program. ROI is improved, but overall revenue might be reduced because you're not bringing in that search revenue. And let's see, so then the next one is the hybrid, which is you can actually do combinations of both. So you can say, well, you can't use my display URL, but you can bid on my trademark terms. Or you cannot use the primary engines, but you can use the secondary engines. So the third one is what we see most often, is that they do a combination of the strategies and say, well, this is what we're going to do, these are the rules that we're going to set down. So it's combining some of both of the top policies. So we call that the hybrid approach, which is what you see most common. So you say, well, how do I manage a hybrid policy? The first thing you need to have here is just make sure that you're very clear on what your policy is. That in your searching policy, your terms and condition or your program summary, depending on what network you're using, make sure that it's very clear. Here's the terms that you cannot bid on. Here's the terms you have to stay away from. Whether you can or cannot use the display URL. Whether you can, whether they can direct link to your site, whether they have to have their own affiliate landing page. So you need to make sure that upfront those rules are very specific so that everyone knows what the rules are. The other key part of getting your search affiliates and coming up with a strategy and plan is just communication. They are your partners, that they are part of your team. So communicating to them if you're doing a hybrid approach and you're doing your own search campaigns, working with your search affiliates, saying, wait, you're above me, you're not supposed to be, or here's some terms that are converting really well for us that, you can take advantage of, or here's some words that aren't converting really well for us that we want you to take advantage of. Maybe you can get better conversion rates than we're seeing on those terms. So just making sure that that communication is a two-way street, and you're keeping your affiliates up to speed on everything that's happening, changes that you're seeing in the market space with your products, your product terms, because if they're successful, you're going to be successful. So you just want to make sure that you're constantly doing communication. If you had to up your bids or lower your bids for any particular reason, you want to make sure that they know that, because if you're not keeping them in the loop, suddenly they might be appearing above you, and that's against your terms, and then it can start this whole, well, we're going to kick you out because you're not playing by the rules, but you've really never told them that you're changing your policy, you're changing your bids, your bid structure, or whatever. So you want to make sure that that communication is there, and it's always a two-way street. Also, and this is going to lead into Lori's presentation, there's various tools out there that you can use to help you monitor what's coming through on your search campaigns. So you definitely want to make sure that you're taking advantage of them so that you can see who's actually playing by the rules, what conversions you're getting, what URLs are coming through, and what keywords and what phrases are working for you. So definitely take advantage of the monitoring tools and make sure that you're using them to help you have the best campaign that you can have. On to Lori.
Okay, everybody, so great intro. The search monitor, what we do is we monitor the ads and organic listings on Google, Yahoo, and Bing. And we do that through a series of crawlers. So we're actually crawling the actual search result pages, just like a real user, from geo-targeted areas. So we can do location-specific. So we actually get a real look at the results, just like an actual consumer would see. And the reason we do that is to keep an eye on brand use, keep an eye on affiliates, either good or bad behaviors, and also to provide competitive intelligence to our clients who are interested in just looking at the whole search landscape to see what's going on. From that information, we can see affiliate marketers who are direct linking. We can see affiliates that have their own website landing pages and who they're promoting off of those pages. So we not only know our clients' affiliate behaviors, we also know their competitors' affiliate behaviors. And so from that angle is how I'm coming to this presentation. We're really looking at what can you do on your brand terms or brand phrase terms to use your affiliates and leverage them to try to make you more money. So let's take a look at just how competitive brand terms really are. And you can see, this is a study that we did over the summer for the first and second half of 2009, just on a few different verticals. And what we're looking at is the number of competitive advertisers that aren't the brand holder, advertising on brand terms. And you can see that it's pretty competitive. Just look at even the smallest category here, in the finance category, there's 37 advertisers advertising on brand terms that aren't the brand holder. You know, when you consider there's only 10 positions on page 1, that makes page 1 pretty competitive. So people are really vying for that space. So what you wind up with is a situation where if you're the brand holder and you are going at it alone, you're going to have 1 out of 10 spots on the page instead of 10 out of 10. If you use your affiliates to help you, maybe able to fill up some of that space with affiliates instead of letting your competitors take away your good brand efforts and take your clicks away from you. So if you think about it in those terms, it becomes more compelling to let your affiliates help you and work synergistically with you on your brand terms. And if you know the rules and policies of Google, Yahoo, and Bing, they're all different. Google actually allows any advertiser to advertise on brand terms. So that means you can't really prohibit somebody from advertising on your brand. Yahoo and Bing are a little bit more restrictive, but still they don't police the activity. So yourself to actually get more traffic from your brand terms. So I look at this, I look at 2 different things. So things that you should be doing and things that I think don't make a lot of sense. So, you know, what you want to do is corner the market, really, by pushing out the competition on your brand terms. Protecting your brand. I think of it like capture the flag. You surround your brand being a flag, with as much of you as you possibly can. On the don't side, you look at direct linkers. Those are folks that are using your display URL as theirs, and affiliates or otherwise. We've actually seen hijackers taking display URLs, making pretend they're you, and pushing the traffic somewhere else, not even to yourself. The reason this is bad to do is if you are also bidding on the term. So you're bidding on the brand terms and your affiliates are bidding on the brand terms. Only one advertiser at a time can have the same display URL. Which means if it's not you, it's someone else that's showing up with your display URL. You're basically bidding against all your competitors plus anyone using your display URL, which means higher CPCs for you. Your metrics will be thrown off. Your ROI may be thrown off. The search team's ROI is looking at one set of metrics. The affiliates team is looking at another set of metrics. And actually the clicks may be being funneled through the affiliate team and you're not getting credit for that. So in the don'ts, we look at direct linkers, and here's just an example of, you know, a quick direct link. You've got an ad with a Walmart URL in it. It's going through an affiliate network and then pushes the traffic to a Walmart page. So Walmart ultimately does get the traffic, but they pay the price on competitive bidding, bidding against each other, bidding essentially the affiliate and Walmart bidding against each other on the same terms. So you don't want to do that. And if you kind of take a look at the problem, again, we have a report in our system that we call a knockout report, and it really gives you a clear picture of if you have a display URL issue where people are direct linking, it shows you the percentage of the time that the advertiser is actually yourself, percentage of the time that's not you. And so in this particular case, Fisher Price and Barbie's, you know, we had 65% of the time the advertiser was the affiliate and not the actual merchant. So if you think about that in terms of competitive bidding, you're really pushing up your CPCs on direct linking. However, if you look at the problem a different way, and instead of worrying about direct linkers and actually work with affiliates that have their own website pages and their own content, you can use your affiliates to help improve performance on your brand terms, increase leads and sales. Like I said before, you can corner the market, push out the competition, and protecting your brand. So how can you do that? First of all, you want to use your affiliates to occupy more positions on the page. Remember, there's 10 spots on page 1. If you're only in one's position, you have 1 out of 10, so if you can get more. Many times your affiliates, if they have their own landing pages, they really have to work at having a good quality score because their ultimate goal is to arbitrage, you know, the commissions they're getting from you versus the cost per click that they're paying. So they have to look at that bottom line very closely. And the best way to get a very low CPC is to have an excellent quality score. So a lot of times your affiliates will have better landing pages than you and better quality scores and really rise up higher in the ranks. So I always like to say, don't be a 1 out of 10, be a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 positions on the page. Consider these other facts. Search engines do not police your brands. So if the affiliates aren't there, someone else will be. Search engines do let other advertisers sponsor your brands. So that means the competition will be there. The best way to protect your brand is basically to encourage the competition to go away, and I put encourage in quotes. The competition will not be there if they aren't getting an ROI from your brand terms. So they're going to look at their own metrics. If they're doing well on your name, they're going to bid on your name. If they're not doing well on your name, they're going to remove it from their campaign, plain and simple. So the best way to get them off of there is to make it unappealing to them from a financial standpoint. So if you empower your affiliates to sponsor your brand, like Donna was saying before, you want to put rules in place to prevent certain things that might happen that may concern you. For example, you want to make sure the ad copy is consistent with the kind of messaging that you want to put out for yourself. So if you're going to empower your affiliates to sponsor your brand terms, make sure that you have some control over the copy. Make sure you have control over the promotions that they're offering so they're not in conflict with yours. You may also want to have some rank rules around your brand terms. I always want to be on the top side of the page in the left. My affiliate should never be there. That could be a legitimate rule, okay? You may want them to advertise on the day parts when you're not there. Maybe you like to turn your campaigns off certain times of the day. Well, let your affiliates run the rest of the time. And like I said, ad copy. Providing your affiliates with the proper ad copy that you want to see. This is really pretty important. I'll show you an example in a moment. So the main idea here is using your affiliates to push out the competition. Here's a great example of what Vonage we've seen do. So if you look at the term, let's see if we can get this, yeah. So here's the term Vonage, and obviously it looks like they own the entire page. Everything's Vonage. Vonage.com, Vonage, buyvonage.com, Vonage-promotions. You know, every single ad is basically a Vonage ad. Somehow or another, they're either controlling these domains themselves or they're letting their affiliates run Vonage promotions. The thing that's a little messy is that you'll notice that some of the offers are different. Some of them are the same. You see $9.95 a month, but then you also see at the very top, I don't know if you have a little thing we can point. At the top left, the second ad down, you'll see unlimited phone service plus save $155 until $331. You know, you want to make sure all of these different offers are consistent. The one below it says save $150, so it's different. So great way to corner the market, just making sure that the copy makes some sense is pretty important so that people know where to click. Another strategy that I've heard people do is sort of outside of affiliate, but just a little tip. If you're number one in organic on your brand terms, you ought to still be sponsoring paid, but make your offer less interesting on the paid. You know, make your organic offer better than your paid offer. That way, you'll still own the paid real estate, inspiring people to click on the organic listing instead of your paid. Save you a little money. I did have some little things there. All right, so that ends my portion. I'm going to turn it over to Brendan.
Good morning. My name is Brandon Lawrence. I started the Smartest Search just actually earlier this year, or 2009. I've been a publisher for about 4 years now. A few various companies, a few different techniques. With the Smartest Search, my newest incarnation, we mostly have been working with strategic partnerships with different agencies and different merchants, trying to use PPC to make money for ourselves and for the brands and the merchants and everyone else involved. So the main elements of a strategic partnership that we try to encourage and try to form is we always want a strong affiliate, a strong relationship with our affiliate manager. This is good so that they know us, they know what we're doing. We know what they're going to do, so that we know that they're not going to change the rules if we start having success, which is always a nightmare for publishers. A lot of times, if we have good success, sometimes the merchants will just change the rules, take our techniques, and move on. So it's always good to know in my perspective, to know the manager. And then the agreement on position in the search engines. Generally, most of the agreements we come up with, they would like us to be second position. They usually have an in-house team running, so they would usually want us to supplement that. Sometimes we do 2, 3, 4, and 5. Sometimes we have multiple ones. The example she used for Vonage, that's something we've done before. We've filled up almost all the real estate with the exception of the top one. And then for the brand terms and secondary entries, that's another big avenue for us. We go to Dolphile, Lycos, AOL. Internationally, we do all the different content networks, and that's a lot of, that costs a lot of money to to try that stuff out, and a lot of brands or in-house people don't want to try doing that. They don't want to take it on their own, and we have that kind of budget, so we don't have the problem trying to see if that works for your brand. Display URL, that goes back to what I was just saying. The long tail words, this is something that we've been developing for a long time. We'll go in and we'll take any strong words that we could find for your campaign and just build them out ridiculously. We'll put in any type of local aspects to it. We will put in any type of product, SKUs, anything like that we could think of that could bring stuff there aside from branded. That's usually something that we'll reach in an agreement.
What's an example?
For example, we were working with Barnes & Noble, and we went on to right before Christmas we went into the best-selling books, and we took all the SKUs that from the last year, for the last 12 months, of all the best-selling books, and we just started bidding on SKUs, and we were able to generate a lot of traffic for them, and they were very happy with that. That was something they hadn't been utilizing. And then the strict policing and enforcement of agreements. Every management side always has like a search monitor or an aspect like that, but a good affiliate partner will also be using those services because they want to keep out the competition as well, because I don't want another affiliate to come in on an area where I am. And if I do see that person, I'll either increase my bids to try to dislocate them, or I will just make it known to the brand, because a lot of times we'll have the partnerships, so other people shouldn't be there, so that we utilize the same tools. All right, so a case study was Blue Man Group, which is a show here in Las Vegas. Blue Man Group wanted to increase their ticket sales to their Vegas shows, but they had been getting cannibalized by Vegas.com, I believe, and like Ticket Network and a few of those type of sites had been taking all the high rankings. So they came to us and we came up with a private solution where they reached out to us and had to publish through. And between the two of us, they gave us a one-off display URL. I believe it was LasVegasTickets.com. And we then, they didn't want us in ever above second place, but by allowing us in and by putting us there, we knocked out all the ticket networks and Vegas.coms. We just ran their budget up so much that they couldn't compete with us.
And Blue Man Group actually has a merchant program, so
yeah.
you might not have known that they sell tickets directly from their own website, so they're actually a merchant.
And actually, the results ended up being great for everybody. They were able to increase their revenue by quite a bit, and their direct ticket sales increased, so their bottom line increased, and then my ROI was great. I made a good amount of money on it, so it was great for us. And we actually, we ended up stopping this agreement because they liked our work so well that they just did it themselves. So, but that's usually why it goes back to knowing who you're working with better and having strong partnerships. Another case study, this is one that we were just doing this fall. It's eBillMe, which is a service that a lot of websites are now utilizing, just a different form of payment that sites have. And they wanted to block their competitors on their key search terms and increase their revenue, pretty standard. So again, we came up with the one-off display URL and the bidding rules. Again, they didn't want us above second place, but they also, anytime we saw someone else that was in first place that wasn't them, they wanted us to be in first place on any of those type of terms. So it was a little bit more of a hybrid agreement than what was worked out with Blue Man Group. And it ended up working out well for all parties again, and this is something we still run. And the top two results were covered in overall traffic on the brand terms. Going to eBillMe has increased. The overall revenue and ROI has increased, and all these numbers, with the exception of our revenue, obviously, were pulled from Compete, so you guys can fact check them if you would like. And the people who had been on their brand before that are no longer showing up. It's really hard to actually find any affiliate that's in this, with the exception of ourselves and one or two other people that were also reached out for the same agreement. And obviously for them in-house, they ended up increasing their ROI and that was very beneficial for them, and they've actually reached out to us to improve this and to work out some way to make more, and that probably will, we haven't really come up with the terms yet, but that will probably be more along the Vonage line where we'll take up all the real estate. Back to what Lori was saying, we'll probably come up with 9 other one-off displays and just fill everything. So here is the example of eBill Me. Up top, you can see it's electric bill payment, and it's, I don't even know the site, and then eBill Me is down, and then Bill Me from Ask. And so what we were able to do was, afterwards, and this is how they increased their revenue, we were able to knock out that first person, and so they retained the first one, and we were able to do that just by giving that other person too much, it cost too much. And an easy way for us to do that was we coordinated with eBill Me. They halted their campaign for just an afternoon or two. We were able to increase our budget, so it wasn't affecting them. Knocked the other person out. They turned their campaign back on. They had first place.
So they were just completely receptive to you using the term official site and trademark?
Yeah. That's cool. They wanted anything that we could get. Our ad copy, as long as we were in second place, there was no qualms with what we were doing. So then obviously in second place, the Shop Debt Free, that was their one-off display that they wanted us to use. Then you can see that we're there, and generally, depending on where you're searching from, if you look still, there's nobody else there. It should just be the two of us. Another case study, this is with Greensbury Market, who is a small emerging organic meat distributor, kind of like an Omaha, but more healthy, organic, free range, all that good stuff. And they were an emerging brand, so they didn't really have any brand presence. So they wanted to increase sales on competitive keywords in an organic gourmet food segment. So they reached out to us, and we developed a partnership allowing ourselves and other top publishers that were invited in by the agency, actually, which is the JAR Group down here. Were invited in, and for non-branded terms, we were able to use their display URL. And we were doing terms that were too expensive for them to do up front, along the lines of organic meat or organic meat delivery, just stuff that there's all kinds of competition on. And we were developing that out. And a lot of times we weren't in first, even second place. We were coming in third and fourth, but it was more of a branding exercise because they hadn't been seen anywhere. And we ended up having pretty good results. Their revenue increased, the general PPC and affiliate efforts went up, and the best part was there was no cost for them up front. They didn't have to pay us anything up front. There wasn't a contract like that. They just paid us for our results, which I wish all business was like that. Sorry, didn't realize I was speaking loud. No problem. Is this better? And then again, the publisher as myself, we were able to make $2,000 off the whole experiment. So that worked out great, and they were happy. Everyone was happy. Is that the last? And I guess that's the last of the slides.
Okay, so we can take questions now if anyone has any. We don't have a formal panel moderator, so there's no one to really walk around, so just raise your hands and we can, call on you. No one?
Any questions, sir?
Yeah, talk more about custom landing pages. How would you use one of those in your campaign?
Are you referring?
If you're trying to market my product.
So the question was about landing pages, how we use those more directly.
Custom pages.
Yeah, custom pages. Well, we would usually highlight different sales or specials that you would have going on. But in reality, most of my work is actually done, and I know that Lori was saying that this wasn't the correct way. Most of my work is actually done through direct linking. We would rather just go through and not muddy in my opinion, muddy our results. I would rather just send it straight to you guys with my referral, so you guys know where it's coming from. But when we do work with landing pages, it usually has to do with specific sales holidays, we'll build out, especially around Halloween, we were doing a lot of different like costume superstores, that kind of stuff, and we were building out one-offs around, we did a big one around Harry Potter costumes, but really, again, I'm more of a direct linker.
I would add to that, you know, if you want to empower your affiliates to do the types of things that Brendan's group does, one thing you might want to think about is building those custom landing pages yourselves.
Yeah.
So you own the page, you own the content, you control it. The affiliates are really just helping you push out the competition and make sure you maintain low CPCs and high ROIs on those key terms.
Yeah, and we see the custom pages a lot of times used with custom display URLs. So you have your main display URL, but then you create a new one, which I think you on eBillMe you had one, which was shop. So a lot of times those custom landing pages go along with a custom URL, so that you're actually, you know, it's going to have the look and feel of your site, but the domain's going to be a little bit different. So that enables you to be able to use both URLs at the same time and get both traffic off of both. You do. Or I've seen relationships where they'll say to the affiliates, can you go out and buy them for us? I definitely recommend that you should own them yourself, because then that way if the relationship with that affiliate ever gets turned off or it's not a partnership anymore, at least you're owning those and those are your display URLs.
God.
Hi, I'm Gretchen, and I've heard both sides where the custom landing pages should have the same look and feel as your brand website, but then I've heard another story like you're not supposed to do that because then you're going to, you know, get the consumers confused. What is your recommendation on that?
I personally feel that they should be different. You want it, like you said, you want it to be different because you don't want to confuse the consumer. From your perspective, you wouldn't want us to be advertising something that looks just exactly the same. That could lead to some cannibalization or the feel of that, even though that wouldn't be our intent. But if you have the exact same layout, you know, so usually it would be better with a special or something like that we would be better to advertise specifically.
I would actually agree with that. I mean,
What was the question?
the question was, should the landing page, these custom landing pages, mirror the look and feel of your own website? And what we're saying is it probably shouldn't. You don't want to confuse the consumer, because you don't want to create a new behavior where they start typing in this vanity URL, this other URL, trying to look for you. That's not your goal. Your goal is a strategy to basically own that search result page, but not to change the consumer behavior. eBillMe.com still wants people to go to eBillMe.com and not the other website that was up there on the screen. Sir, you had a question in the way back in.
Yeah, my question is, what criteria do you use to find a legitimate search affiliate?
So the question is, what criteria do we use to find a legitimate search affiliate? So the experience of being in the channel for a while and for a few years now, I know and have a good relationship with search affiliates just from building my own database and working with them throughout the years. But another way that you could find good search affiliates is reaching out to the affiliate networks. I know that both Commission Junction and Linkshare actually have publisher relations teams, and they are segmented by different types of categories of affiliates. So if you wanted to get in touch with a pocket of search affiliates, you could call the Linkshare publisher team and tell them that you're interested in reaching out to some search affiliates, and they would give you the reputable search affiliates. And I use that reputable search affiliates, which is the trusted search affiliates that they know and have worked with over the years. Go ahead, question?
What do you think about Amazon associates winding down their search video? Certainly in the UK, I've seen an email last
In
week.
the US.
Repeat the question.
So the question, I believe, was about Amazon winding down its affiliate program, search affiliate. I personally like that because people get to use the Amazon display and get to rank very highly artificially because of that, and they, you know,
Because of the Amazon name.
Yeah, because of the Amazon name, they get to put it in, and it's just like also Ask does the same thing where a lot of people show up high. You know, you'll see that a lot on brands where the second or third result is from Ask or Amazon, and I personally would like it to disappear so it's easier for us to follow. As in, I could, you know, if somebody's on the branded display URL, that's easy enough to follow. And if someone's in a one-off display, again, easy enough to follow. And then if it's a competitor, you know, you can't tell always if it's a competitor, if someone's using Amazon, there could be some internal efforts that we don't know about that that would be affecting that. So
from our side, you're going to get better true search results because they're not, you know, piggybacking on the Amazon name. But from the other side, I'm not sure why Amazon would stop search affiliates. It doesn't make sense to me that they would. That's limiting the revenue potential that they have to bring in. So it doesn't seem like a good strategy to me. From the other side, it helps us because it's going to be better true search results for different products. Questions? None? Okay,
Great, thanks everybody.
Thank you for
thanks,
coming.
guys.
Please, on the way out the door, the moderators have the feedback forms. So please complete those if you could. That gives Missy and Sean feedback as to what types of sessions to have in the future, if you like this session and you would like to see other sessions around this topic. So thank you for coming and enjoy the show.
And please feel free to come up if you'd like to meet us.
If you have any questions,
Sit here for a few moments.
come on up.
And we all have cards, so if you want to grab a card, you can get one of those as well.
And of course we shall.
I use you guys.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.